Hello, my name is Matt Bird, and welcome to the PublishU Podcast, where we feature the real life stories of authors from around the world. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Ian Lynam from Leicester in the United Kingdom, who has written a book called Dealing with Disappointment. Hey, Ian, great to see you.
And to see you.
I can't remember how many times you've been on this podcast, 'cause I think this is probably about your third or fourth book now. You're becoming quite prolific. Do you have time for anything else in your life?
No. I struggle to squeeze in everything that I'm supposed to do. So, yes.
But you
But
love
this
writing,
is
don't you?
important. Yeah, I love the writing, and this is important to me. So I give it the time I can.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So tell us more about writing being important to you.
a little while ago, it was I was at a meeting in a church and just felt really that the time had come for me to actually put pen to paper and to actually write. It'd been something that had been there for a long time that I knew. I just felt it was the right thing for me to do. It was time. Timing was the thing, and but it's a part of. There's something in me every time I think about things. I think of it in terms of books and titles and chapters and things. So, and like you say, this is my third book now, and I'm currently working on the fourth, and so it's all there.
Amazing, amazing. So when you're not writing books, you run a couple of businesses, you do gardening, you do
Yeah,
staging,
yeah,
um, and lead a church on the
and
side.
lead a church as well. Yes, along with my wife. Yeah,
Oh,
so lots of things going on. Always busy. So
yeah, yeah, amazing. And so this latest book is on a subject that is no stranger to any of us, disappointment. Because yeah, if you're going to live and breathe, you're going to experience disappointment, aren't you? Um,
exactly,
so
exactly.
I mean, how are you approaching disappointment within this book?
As with all my books, it is all about faith and the Bible and answers from the Bible to everyday issues and the problems we have. And in this case, it's disappointment. Um, we can easily come up with things that we hope will happen, and engage with them as if they are definitely going to. There are many aspects of our lives that we're not actually in control of, um, because other people are. And in the same way we disappoint people, people disappoint us, circumstances disappoint us. But God has an answer. And in the Bible, there are things that explain to us how to deal with it, how to deal with the feelings, how to deal with the circumstances, and how to approach life in such a way that we can minimize disappointment to some
Yeah,
degree.
yeah. When did you last experience deep disappointment, Ian? You personally?
Um, I think probably over this winter to a certain degree. I've not been well and not been able to do a lot of the things that I would have liked to have done over this winter. And so there has been a degree in having to deal with that issue of not being able to do what I wanted to do and being disappointed that it's had to go on the back burner or had to wait. So probably just over the last 3 months, really. But I think in reality, most of us, most of the time, are dealing with some sort of disappointment, because we interact with other people, um, uh, and interact with life. There is always something that is never going to be quite what we would have liked it to be. So
And is that how you define disappointment, experiencing something not quite as you would have liked it to be?
I think so. I think we invest, don't we? We invest in people. We invest in ideas. We invest in our emotions and our time and our energy in lots of different things. And whilst in some of those circumstances we try to convince ourselves it's for no return, what we're actually hoping for in most of those cases is something to return. You put energy into work in the hope that you'll get money from it. You put energy and emotions into relationships, hoping it will be reciprocated, and not getting that back, which whatever it is what causes those senses of disappointment.
Mm, mm. So you said in your book, Dealing with Disappointment, you give some advice about dealing with disappointment. What is that advice? I mean, for those of us who might be sitting with a disappointment currently, um, what do you recommend?
I believe that you can understand a lot more about your sense of disappointment and your feelings of disappointment with a more realistic view about what life is like. Um, I think most of the time we try to deal with disappointment by focusing on either putting more energy in or investing more and all the rest of it. But in reality, there is things that will not pan out how you want them to. The world is not in your sphere. So taking responsibility for what you can, but not trying to dictate to all the other things in life. So you can't dictate to somebody that they're going to love you. You can't dictate to something that the markets are going to pick up and your investments are going to. There's lots of ways in which you have to be realistic about what is on your shoulders and what cannot be on your shoulders. And I think a lot of the reality, understanding the reality of the world is the big thing. And I think that's what the book touches on, is getting a more realistic view from God's perspective of what the world is really like.
Yeah. And what is that realistic perspective?
We're all human. We're all human. Um, we are only in control of our reactions to things. The only real power we've got is how we react to what happens in our lives. Um, yes, we can put energy in. Yes, we can spend time doing something, but we can't guarantee the outcome. So we have to um, understand that around us there are other humans that are not perfect any more than you are, any more than I am, any more, there isn't anybody out there that's going to fully satisfy, fully give you what you want. Um, the world isn't perfect. You can go out into the garden and spend 3 hours weeding, walk back in the house, and then walk out again and see one you missed. That is the reality of life. This world is not perfect. We're not perfect, and it never is going to be.
Mm,
Uh,
amazing. Amazing. And Ian, this is, as you said earlier, the third book you've written. You did the writing my book course a few years ago,
yeah.
um, and you continue to use what you learned there to write more books.
Yes, definitely. It definitely works. It's you using that. It leads to an end product. Um, like I say, it had been on the cards for many years that I wanted to write, but it was that first initial how do you start?
Yeah.
And very much the course has given me the tools that I need to be able to do this. Um, it the program works. It's that simple. You learn something, and as long as you follow that program, at the
Yeah.
end of it, in a relatively short period of time, you will have something that you can, if you wish, publish. So yes. So
And you follow the methodology each and every time you write a book.
yes. One of the things involved post-it notes at one point, and for each book I've got a folder with a whole stack of post-it notes in it, that has led to the the end of the book, sort of thing. So yes, definitely.
Mm.
um,
So, what are your expectations for this book, and it's a pocket book, isn't it? I love pocket
Yeah,
books because they do what they say on the tin. They fit in your pocket. And the other really great thing about them is you can read them in 40, 45
yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
And so this pocketbook, Ian, what is your hope of the impact it has on people?
I'm hoping. I, I, I I'm hoping that it addresses a sense of disappointment that can become a part of church life. Because I think it's honest that there are things within church life and within faith that actually add to disappointment, because we place on God certain things that perhaps are not within his sphere, that he hasn't said, and such like. And I'm hoping that it will just help people re engage with God, re engage with the church, and turn aside from disappointment, because
Oh,
it's not healthy for anybody to be living with disappointment. It stifles any further adventures. It stops you going any further because you're in that mode of, well, it ain't going to happen, all the rest of it, because this one in the past didn't.
yeah.
So
You in a sense you replay the disappointment,
yes, you do.
expecting that's all you're going to experience
Yeah,
from here on in.
yeah. I think that's one of the greatest difficulties when it comes to disappointment. It doesn't leave you. I tell a story at the very beginning of the book that goes back to the year of the Apollo mission to the moon. That's from my life, and the fact that I can still tell that story and it's still real to me gives an indication of actually how disappointment is a part of the process of life, and we must learn to deal with it, and it not shape us. Otherwise, like I say, it stops the adventure.
Mm. Well, there's a message there. Keep on adventuring, guys. Deal with your disappointment. And I think that's a genuinely powerful challenge for us all, not to allow disappointment to stifle us and to stifle our spirit of adventure,
Yeah.
with people and places and life. So, well, thank you, Ian, and thank you all for listening to the PublishU podcast featuring the real life stories of authors from around the world. If you're interested in becoming an author like Ian, please do visit our website, www.publish, the letter U, publishu.com. And if you enjoyed this broadcast, make sure you subscribe for more. Thank you for joining us, and goodbye for now.